All right, we should be live. What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. I am in the middle of feeding right now. What up, everybody? You want to say hi? Probably not. You're too busy eating. I won't disrupt you. She's very antsy right now. She's being fed, but then she's randomly getting upset and crying. So I'm not going to disturb her until she's done. And then it's time to burp. But let's see who is in the house today. Extreme Zone was first to the chat. What up, Extreme Zone? Then we got Craig Lilly, as always. What's up, what's up? And then we got Stang 2007. How are you doing, Stang? How's everything going? I forget how many weeks it is now. For us, we're at week 9 or 10. So you've got to be at like week 4-ish, right? 3 or 4. I'm just losing track of time. Somehow it's only been like 2.5 months since these girls have been born, but it feels like it's been half a year. Let's see. We got Manstan. Starting soon. Oh yes, I did ask in the chat. Let me know what you guys think as well. Before the stream starts, I manually click like go live at 5 p.m. every single time. 5 p.m. my time. But there's a lot of people in the chat usually, and they're able to, you guys are able to chat and stuff. And I think it's just showing like a picture of the thumbnail for the stream. I was asking, would you guys rather have like a starting soon waiting room screen? I'll probably just make it like the slideshow of the twins or something. But like 5 to 10 minutes before the stream starts. So the stream would be starting and it would be video. It would just be like a video on loop until I actually go live at 5. So I've never done that before, but I'm curious. A lot of streamers do that, but I always just start right on, like exactly on time. As soon as stream time starts at 5, you see my face. There's no like pre-screen or anything, but I'm curious. Initially, I never did it because I kind of hate waiting screens, especially when they're too long. Like some streamers, they put a waiting screen on like 30 minutes before their stream starts. So like I get the notification and I get there and then it's like 30 minutes of waiting on a looped video. So I never liked that. So if I were to do it, I would do it like 5 minutes. I'm thinking maybe 10, but not any more than that. I don't want it to be too long. But yeah. But going through the list, what up, Kale130? What up, man? Stan. Wait, I already said that. But you said, I think a starting sushi for like 35 minutes could be good. Okay, yeah. So that's what I'm thinking too. Like a pretty short one. Because YouTube's weird. They have notifications. Girl, slow down a bit. Slow down. Let me wipe your mouth. YouTube supposedly is supposed to send notifications to people. But I feel like when I hit start, that's when it actually sends the notifications to everybody. But the first like stream announcement that goes out, I don't think everyone sees it. Or if people do see it, they don't click on it because I'm not actually live. So that's what the waiting room screen would help with. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Let me know though. Staying 2007 pulled the trigger and bought the 9060 XT 16GB at Micro Center. Newegg sold out on some of the cheaper cards. Congrats on the new card. It's an awesome card. I like it. I just released some benchmarks yesterday on it versus the 3080. Like I said I would. I don't know if I'm going to be doing a talking head video for that. I don't know if you guys need me to read off the results. It's all pretty self-explanatory. I wanted to initially do a talking head, but then, you know, very busy right now. So I was like, I'm just going to release this video and maybe I'll do like a commentary afterwards. What up, giant robots? Hello, hello, hello. I'm packing from a work trip. Ready to watch the stream tonight since you're back in time. Nice. Glad to see you here. Let me wipe your mouth, love. Okay. Okay. What up, Bionic Bigfoot? How are the babies and wife? Everyone is doing good, health-wise-ish. We've got some other stuff going on, but managing it as much as possible. The girls are in good health. Me and Melissa, on the other hand, we got our own things going on, but the girls are doing well. So that's the most important part. But thanks for asking. Scott Gordon is early 2 weeks in a row. What is happening? You are becoming punctual. There's nothing wrong with being early. I think there's a lot to be said about being late. Obviously, being late to a stream doesn't matter, but in real life, like being the person in your friend group or family group that's always late, I always got annoyed by that because especially when it's something where time is like important. Like, let's say you have a reservation for dinner and they won't seat the whole party until everybody's there, and you got one person running like 20 minutes late. Like, you know, you can affect the rest of the group like that. For things that don't matter, it's whatever. But if it's a one-on-one thing, like I'm meeting with someone and they're late, it's like, okay, so now I just sat here waiting 15 to 20 minutes because, you know, you weren't on time. So because of, like, I never like being in the position of just waiting on people, I try to make sure myself that I'm never late to things. And then me and Melissa butt heads on that a lot because she's always late to stuff. And I like being early so that if something happens, being early, like a little early, then you'll be right on time. If like you hit more traffic or whatever the heck. But yeah. But glad to see you in the chat and early, Scott. Let me see. Turn on Baby Shark. No Baby Shark. No Cocomelon. I'm going to see if I can go through their whole childhood without showing them these things. But we will see. How you doing, love? We're almost done. You still hungry? My goodness. These girls sometimes act like they're starving, man. Like we didn't feed them all day. You can probably hear her kind of like sucking on her bottle. Girl, you breathing heavy. Calm down. The milk's not going anywhere. Love, I'm gonna sit you up real quick. How you doing? Yep. We'll take a little break. What up, Jensen? Hey, yo, Danny, I wanted to say I'm super excited to be here for the stream because I've missed the past few live streams because of sports and whatnot. No worries. We are always here every week. If you miss 1 week or are late, you can be here for the next one. And also, they're always... The VODs are up forever afterwards. Okay. I give you a bottle back. But yeah, you can always watch the VODs afterwards, even though it's not exactly the same thing. What's wrong, love? I will probably have to change her after she's done feeding, so I'm going to have to go AFK for a little bit. And I'm waiting for the AC person to check out our AC because ours has been leaking. So I might have to go away screen multiple times this stream. So just letting you guys know. Alucard Sparta, if the supercars come out before December, that would be nice for me so I could pick one up before my work's Christmas party. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. That was mainly the kind of most exciting like hardware news that I saw. And it was from a pretty seemingly reliable tech news outlet. Yep. What's wrong? You want to burp? Come on. We're going to do... Oh, come on, love. Sit up straight. I'm gonna let you figure it out. Let me put you over my shoulder. You don't want to be doing the sitting method, so we're gonna do this method. HDZ, what up? What up, Batman? 3 a.m. for you. Glad you could join us, though. Say hello. Say hello, Mia. Oh, there's a burp. See me get another one, then we'll finish. I hope you did not blow out in the back, because I would be just patting your poop all over. Come on, love. One more burp. What up, Daniel Hulan? So, Danny, the other day, you gave advice to me to sell my 4070 Ti and get a 970 XT for 600. Well, Micro Center sold that, and I sold my 4070 Ti for 600 Facebook and got a 5070 Ti. Not, what, 5070 Ti's, those are going for, what, 750? I think those are pretty commonly found for MSRP these days, right? So, you got a slightly more expensive one? And Daniel also got their first OLED from Facebook. 39-inch LG Ultra Gear OLED for $400. Crazy good deal, and it works perfect. It's a 2024 panel. Congrats. That and the new graphics card. You're living good. Stepping your gaming up to the next level. Hi, love. Okay, what's wrong? You ready to finish? You're not burping anymore, so let's finish this up, and then we can go change you, okay? Okay. These girls spit up so much, my goodness. That's why I always have a burp cloth, no matter what. And a bib is not big enough. Putting a bib on them, they saturate the whole thing. I need a whole burp cloth. Come on, let's finish up. Better to be the early Craig Lilly than the late Craig Lilly, but you're biased. Yeah. I watched a lot of your videos, especially the ones where you took your mom to Micro Center. I didn't take that. I did not take my mom to Micro Center. Do I have any Micro Center videos? I think you might be thinking of a different YouTuber. Hi, love. You're almost done. Oh my goodness. What is wrong? You're just being fussy right now. She just got up from a nap. Do you want to finish or no? Come on. I know you're going to be hungry later. Come on. Let's see. You want to finish or no? Nope. We're not finishing. Okay. You're just going to be hungry sooner. Okay. Let's try to get the burp out and then I will change you. Yeah? And this is just one of the two little ones. Imagine both acting up at the same time. Melissa has the other one. Do you guys even know who this is? Which twin is this? Mia or Lexi? Hi, what are you looking at? Looking at the camera? Yeah. Birth of Mac, which I saw your channel membership. I think that was a renewal, right? Because you've been a channel member, so I think you just renewed it. But thank you for that, Birth of Mac. You're trying to figure out if you should go Intel CPU or AMD. I'm a huge COD fan. I thought the more recent CODs have... I'm thinking of graphics cards. For processors, honestly, I think most people are going to recommend you go AMD. I think Intel one processors, like 12th gen or newer, would be fine. I don't know what your budget is. But for the right price, I think Intel processors are fine. If you care about future-proofing, though, Intel already is on a 1851 socket, so 12th to 14th gen is already kind of like considered obsolete. But if you go AMD and you go AM5, AMD is looking like they're still releasing stuff for it, and maybe for a while. So if you care about that, just easy answers, go 7800 X3D. If you have a little bit more money to spend, 9800 X3D. But yeah. Just don't let them watch Caillou. That kid is a little whiny brat. So funny. My sister-in-law would put Bluey on for my niece. I think Bluey, for the most part, a lot of parents don't really have trouble with like Bluey, Paw Patrol, and stuff like that. But Coco Melon and Baby Shark specifically, I think that a lot of parents hate it. And I wasn't a fan of it before I had kids, so hopefully we don't, raise them on that. I can remember my daughter watching SpongeBob movie back to back on repeat when she was little. Oh, these girls are definitely gonna be into SpongeBob. I'm a huge SpongeBob fan. I mean, SpongeBob came out when I was like, what, 10 or 11 years old? And that show, my goodness, is actually hilarious and still holds up well today. I definitely like the earlier seasons of SpongeBob, like seasons 1 through 4 or 5 the most. The newer ones, I don't think are as good as the original, but that's just how most shows are. So, yeah. I think she's telling you she wants you want a 5090? Huh? You want a 5090? We gotta do your selection where I put out all the stuff in front of you and you guys pick what processor brand and what graphics card brand you guys want. And that will determine your future. What up, Reluctant Hero? What's up, Angry Yank Garage? Okay. Oh, yeah. I did not do a Micro Center thing with my mom. I did a Corsair pre-built PC build kit with her. And I think that was about it. I'm trying to think. Did I never release? I recorded footage in the California Micro Center, but maybe I never ended up making a video on it. That might have been the case. And Intel is rumored to change with their next real CPU release, not the Arrow Lake refresh, but the next. Yeah. So, also Intel, they just laid off a bunch of employees, and there's a bunch of stuff. I guess I could have brought that up in the tech news, but it seems like they're going through like some reorganization and direction changes. So unless they become super aggressive in this next release, then it maybe hold off on buying Intel and go with AMD, since them on the CPU sides of things has been pretty like positive for the last couple of generations releases. Intel not so much. So yeah. Okay, you're probably getting bored and you're like, change my diaper, huh? Okay, so I think I'm gonna put the Be Right Back screen on. I'm gonna go change her. My goodness, girl. Stop slamming your head against my shoulder. You're gonna give yourself brain damage. Okay, I'll be right back. After I change your Be Right Back screen, we got some new pictures. Okay. Okay, we're back. She's nice and changed. She's being fussy though. She might throw up on me. Why are you doing that, girl? You know? Okay. Neil Wesco says, "Holy hell, that is Yu Yu Hakusho music." It is. I is happy. Yes, I love that song. I love Smile Bomb. These two little girls make me smile many bombs. Even though she ain't happy right now. Love, what's wrong? You want me to stand up? Who's making fun of me last week for wearing the jorts? These aren't jorts, but I'm wearing them again. Whoever was making fun of me. I think it might have been Tectonic. Was it Angry Yank? I love these shorts. They're so comfortable. It's weird because I'm wearing shorts with a sweater. My legs don't get cold. But the AC is running. And my torso does. So that's why I wear the hoodie. Alright. Love, we gotta check out the tech news for the week. And I can't use the computer while standing. Okay. Alright, let's see. You just chill here. Let's see if we can get into this with the baby on my shoulder. This is somewhat difficult to do. Here, I'm going to hold you over my opposite shoulder. With my opposite arm so I can mouse. Or do you want to lay down this way? I need to find a position for her where she'll be happy. Hi. Nope. That's not it. I need a remote for the PC. Yeah, I need like a Wiimote. Love. Okay. Normally, we have help on Wednesdays, but the help is running a bit late. So, that's why I still have her in my hands. They're talking a lot more now. They're laughing. They're being able to track us with their eyes and their head movement. And they're just kind of like goo-gooing and gagaing a lot, which is very cute. Kind of like what she's doing right now. But can she run Crisis? Yes, love. Your first computer is going to be able to run Crisis, okay? I promise. That was a game from what, 2007? I promise it can run Crisis. Even if it's integrated graphics. I might have to do you guys with integrated graphics. I don't know. We'll see what the budget is at that time. Okay. I hope the AC guy does not come before the help comes. Yeah, I know. Let's get you back to sleep. I'll put you down, okay? Let me know how that goes. She's just laying next to me. I got her on her quilt. Hi, love. You chill, okay? The AC guy can help too yes, before my in-laws come. Alright. Let's do this. Yeah. You might just be hearing her in the background, but I'm gonna keep an eye on her. Let her just chill, self-soothe, and hopefully take a quick nap. Alright. RTX 50 Super News. I know you're very excited to hear about this too, love, because, yeah, the 50 series launch at the beginning of this year was kind of a mess, and it remained a mess for a while, but, which is what kind of makes this crazy. So this article is from Tweaktown. And they've been in the tech news game for a long time. I mean, every outlet has their hits and misses, but it's funny because this article they don't normally when the leakers like give information. There's like this prolific, like a couple of prolific leakers that go use Twitter, and they usually quote the tweet or whatever the leaked information is from. This one though, it looks like they're keeping it super under wraps, but I've been hearing and seeing different outlets report on this, probably all from the same source. Or like I saw Video Cards, they reported on this. Where is it at? But they're the ones who referenced Tweaktown. So it's one of those things where they're copying each other's homework. But yeah, so the 5070 Super, 5070 Ti Super, and 5080 Super could be here in time for holiday season. When they were originally rumored to have a 2026 debut. If they come out before the end of the year, that is going to be crazy fast because that's going to be what? Like 10-ish months, 9 to 10 months from the original non-supercard releases. And though their non-super counterparts, at least the Ti Super or the 5070 Ti and the 5070 non-super, those have been floating around MSRP. So the biggest thing about these cards, we're going to look at the specs that are rumored in a second, but the biggest thing on these are these going to come out at a reasonable price relative to the actual MSRP, not those ridiculous street prices when the 5070 and 5070 Ti originally came out. But are they going to be reasonable compared to that? And are we going to see potential non-super price cuts? That would be pretty nice to see because $750 and $550 for these cards respectively. If they can take a $50 to $100 knockdown on the price, that would make them a lot more attractive. Especially since this generation, there's kind of a weird spacing between like each level of cards. So if the supers come out and fill that out nicely and make these cards who people are already happily buying, make them cheaper, then that's a good thing. So let me look at where the we've seen specs emerge. Is there okay? Okay, where's that? Where they said I found it kind of funny. When they mentioned the source, VRAM capacity with the VRAM. So the big thing about this is gonna increase the VRAM capacity, and they have the table here that we're gonna take a look at. But I wanted to show you guys. It was kind of funny. There has been some speculation and rumor that NVIDIA was planning on releasing them in early 2016. Okay, here. Like, normally you see a citation, a point to a Twitter, or like maybe another tech news outlet that has the source of the information. This one says, however, based on information obtained from sources, the RTX 50 Super Series refresh is actually on track for a holiday 2025 or Q4 2025 release. Based on information obtained from sources with no links or footnotes or anything like that. So trust me bro guarantee. But this has been something that leaks have been coming out for, for a little bit now. And we did hear before, but without seeing the specs, that there was going to be an increase in the video memory capacity, which is one of the big things that people complain about, especially with something like the 5070 non-super, right? The 5070 non-super, I think if that had 16 gigs of VRAM at its price, people wouldn't have complained as much. But the fact that you're paying $550 and getting a card with 12 gigs of VRAM, people had issue with. So, the rumored specs. So let's take a look at it side by side. So, more CUDA cores, which is always a good thing. That's gonna. You good? Okay. Bless you. That's gonna correlate directly to an increase in performance. A little bit more tensor cores, nothing to like 8 more, so that's like what, 4% increase. So that's another 4% increase on ray tracing cores. So that's not going to be much. Nothing on the boost. It's likely going to be clocked higher. And here it is, 18 gigabytes of GDDR7 video memory. So that's a 50% increase. I think even if it was only 16 gigs, it would have been fine. But no one's going to complain about 18. That's going to last even a little bit longer than that. And everything else, higher TGP. So more power usually means more performance. Based on this, if I had to take a quick guess without knowing everything about it, I'm going to pull a number out of my butt and you guys can note it. And when these things actually come out, you can see how good I am at guessing. But if I had to guess, I would think... I'm thinking anywhere from like 7 to 10%. No. See, 10% would be too big given everything that we see here, unless the clock speeds are going to be a lot higher. I love. But I would say probably closer to like 5 to 7%. The video memory, for the most part, is not going to increase the performance. It's going to increase things like smoothness, stuttering, all of that. But it's not going to, like, in terms of, like, average FPS, this isn't going to make that much of a difference. It's just going to be in those use cases where you're playing, like, 4K AAA titles at ultra settings. You're going to get smoother frame times compared to the 12 gigs when that video memory is saturated. But, okay, so that's the 5070. Price, okay, so 5 to 7% increase in performance is my guess. And price, if this is 550, I'm thinking 650 for this card. Which kind of, yeah, 650 because it's going to fill that gap between the current 550 to 750 between the TI and the base card. I don't think it's going to be only 600. That seems a little bit too cheap considering they're giving this much VRAM. I think they're going to milk it for what they can. So, yeah, I think at this level, 600, they're going to sell decently well. How is it right to those who just bought into them for the release less than a year after initial release? Is like screwing people over who buy the original cards? Yeah, that's kind of an interesting topic of conversation because if they have a product that's ready now, and I don't know how far in the pipeline this was planned, and, you know, if it was planned really for next year, so that it would have been a full year, but now they pulled it earlier just because they're struggling and AMD is, you know, kind of gaining some market share. I don't like there will always be better products released in the future for the same price or same performing products for a lower price in the future. What is the cutoff, or what is, like, where's the line in the sand that you draw that is reasonable versus there's outrage over, right? I think people mostly buy hardware because they need it then and, like, right then and there. The fact that this is coming out within a year, I don't know if I can get mad at it. Did anyone need to buy the 50 series or even AMD 90 series cards within the first year of them releasing? Even people buying new or building new computers from scratch, the used market was kind of always there. I don't know. I get where the anger is coming from, but you could take a lot of things like this outside of PC hardware in life and have the same issues, right? Like, I think, so, for example, me recently, we bought the Tesla Model Y, right, at the beginning of the year. What's up? Oh, she's here? Okay. Mia's just chilling. She's fine, but I can bring her up if she starts fussing. Or does your mom want her right now? Okay. The cavalry is here, even though Mia's chilling. All right. We can hang out with Mia for a second before her grandma come gets her. Hi. But yeah. Oh yeah, it was Mia. For whoever was guessing, this is Mia. That's the game that I play with my friends and family. We send a picture and we say, try to guess who is who. But she's good now. She's chilling. But yeah, so we bought the Model Y, and it was the 2025 non-refresh version. Literally 3 months later, they released the Juniper new model with like improved suspension, just improved forward cam. Okay, here you go.
Hello, cutie pie.
And all of that stuff, right? It was more expensive, but it was a superior product. I'm trying to think of other aspect, like anytime phones, right? I guess phones don't refresh. They refresh usually on a 1 year cycle, and not much quicker than that. But yeah, the people who bought the original whatever phones before the mid cycle refresh, they probably feel the same way. But if you were the type of person who had to have it right away, then at least you got a card that you could enjoy during that time. There, nobody could predict the future. Nobody knew that except for maybe Nvidia themselves. But in terms of consumers, nobody knew for sure if there was going to be any price slashes or new products coming out. So I think that's just, we see that all over the place in terms of consumerism. No, it's not my mom. It's Melissa's mom. My mom was actually here last night. But yeah. What's Neil saying? If it was a full year, then with current fab times and design means they could have done it now. It's not like the current cards are going to be... Yes, it's not like they're obsolete, but if we look at these specs, this is kind of a big deal. 50% more VRAM. I guess it's like anybody who bought the 5070 on release or near release, given the 12 gigabytes of VRAM, you told yourself, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with not buying used or not waiting a little bit longer or not having a holdover, whatever graphics card. I want it right now. And you were probably enjoying it the entire time you had it. So, I mean, of course, it always pays to be patient and to wait, but you guys know my thoughts on it. You can only wait up to a certain point. There's so many things that we have buyer's remorse about. This is a computer part that's gonna last you a while. Just know that when the super cards come out, it's likely not gonna be the same price unless you paid like a lot over MSRP. This card is gonna be more expensive. They're not gonna release it at $550 and just completely make the 5070 seem like a horrible deal. It's likely gonna be more expensive. So at least you can tell yourself, you know what? I got my card early. I got to enjoy it for this amount of time. And I saved money because the super card is going to be more expensive. So yeah. And then let's take a look at the 5070 Ti and the 5070 Ti Super. So it's looking like the exact same. Now I kind of want to see the 4070 Super versus Ti versus Ti Super. I wonder if any of these guesses are based on that. Anyone remember how many CUDA cores those had? Let me look up real quick. 4070 Ti Super, tech power up, and then let's look at the 4070 normal Super. Where are you at? Oh, here it is. Okay, so look at the core count on this. 7168. No, so yeah. Oh wait, no. I need to look at the Ti. Sorry. Ti. Okay, core count. 7680. 7680. Okay, so between the 4070 Ti and Ti Super, there was a difference in core count. So this isn't just like following that trend. So this is all the same. Same cores for CUDA, Tensor, and ray tracing. Boost clocks, we have no idea. You do get a 50% increase in video memory again here. Everything else about the memory interface is the same though, and 50 more watt TGP. Interesting. This one seems like a pretty minor, except for VRAM again. And if I had to guess, this one, I think they might actually make a little bit closer in price. So if these two, yeah, this one had a core increase. Like if this is going for $750 now and are sitting on the shelves at MSRP, I don't know if I would guess this one would be $100 more. I'm thinking maybe just flat $800 if these specs are right. And there's nothing except for a video memory increase. Adam Williams says YouTube notifications are almost useless. I literally got a notification 24 hours after a show was over yesterday. Welcome to the stream. Did you get this notification late as well? Glad you made it though. What up, Justin North? Okay, so then let's take it to 5080 Super, which is the supposed $1,000 card, which I don't think is even the case right now. Let's take a look at what we have here. Yeah, 5080's lowest priced one is 1200. 1200 is the cheapest one here. So this one is similar to the 5070 Ti. Everything is identical except for, again, a 50% increase in video memory, higher more bandwidth, but same or higher TGP. This one, I'm thinking what they do is, because the 5080 is kind of stupidly overpriced by 20% right now, unless you can get lucky on a Best Buy Founders Edition, which I don't know how often those are dropping, I'm thinking the 5080 Super gets announced at like $1,200. And then that's going to be considered like a justified buy for people because they're already spending $1,200 for a base 5080, and we might start to see 5080s be found for actually $1,000. If you guys remember though, with the 40 series cards, what was the 4080 MSRP? The 4080 was released at $1,200, but what happened when the 4080 Super came out? That was released at $1,000, which is kind of weird. I don't know why NVIDIA did that. And I don't know how many cards were actually found for MSRP. Because, yeah, 4080 Super MSRP. So that one came out. It was the better performing card, and it had a lower MSRP. I don't think NVIDIA is going to be doing that again. Because for them to do that with a card that was already base $1,000... they're not going to release a 5080 Super at $900. I just don't see it happening for that performance of card, and I think it's kind of in high demand given that the price has remained, you know, steadily at $1,200 or more. I haven't really seen it go for much less. I'm thinking there's no way they're going to release a 5080 Super for less than the going price of this right now. They'll do it for the same going price, and then finally maybe be able to slash 5080 non-supers. But again, looking at these numbers, if the VRAM is the only thing that's increasing, I'm thinking for the most part you're gonna get single digit uplift numbers. I'm not seeing 8 more gigs of VRAM magically uplifting your at least average performance more than 10%. The 4080 and 4080 Super really screwed customers when those came out. Well, by the time the 4080 Super came out, and then to the next, like, shortage and unavailability, there wasn't that much time for 4080 Supers to, like, I feel, make it into the wild. Yeah, that pricing really screwed customers over, but I don't know if customers were able to find the 4080 Supers, you know, at $1,000 readily available. When did those come out? So 4080 Super released January, yeah, just January of last year. So about a year and a half ago. And then less than a year later, there was basically shortages of stock, and then they released the 50 series. So these were kind of short-lived as well. Mr. Eli says, is there a point of me upgrading to a 4070? I have a 3080 Ti MSI. No. 3080 Ti should beat a 4070 non-super. So 4070 sits right here on this chart. And obviously, there's more sources you should look at. But 3080 Ti is supposedly 8% faster. According to Tech Power Up, other sources are going to have it differently, but it should be faster. So the only point of upgrading would be for power requirement reasons. What is the 3080 Ti TDP? We're looking at 350 watts, and it's 200 watts on the 4070 non-super. So, yeah. Oops, 1 second. Father-in-law is calling, probably about the AC. What's up? All right, the AC man is on his way, so I might have to pull away for a bit to talk to him about that. So please bear with me. But yeah. But didn't the 4080 Super replace the 4080? See, when the 4080 Super came out, I'm not sure if production on the 4080 stopped at that point. My memory is a little hazy since that was a year and a half ago. But I'm not sure if there was news of was that one of the big reasons for it? I'm starting to not remember that now. But if that's the case, then yeah, I don't know if 4080s were ever reliably under $1,000. I think even the 3080 non-TI beats the 4070. It depends on who does the testing and stuff. Tech Power Up has it a little bit slower. I don't remember off the top of my head. I've never done a side-by-side comparison of the two. But they're about, I would say, it's safe to say they trade blows with each other. Maybe depending on the title, it may go one way or another. But, all right, I'm keeping an eye for the AC person, but 5080 and 5090 is a big scam. Fake FPS. Nothing of the two cards is for gaming. It's for a pro, for AI and like pro workstations and stuff like that. I mean, can we really say that? Because even their raw raster performance, not even considering any like upscaling or frame generation or anything like that, it's the best that the companies have to offer. Like, what else are you gonna get if you want that level of performance on top of potentially wanting you know, the whatever creative workflows that you do, streaming, if you need specifically CUDA for Blender, etc. Because the 9070 XT relative to even the 5080, it's like there's a 20% gap, right? So, and that makes sense because we're talking about a $600 card versus a $1,000 plus $1,200 card. So we're talking about 20% performance difference, which when you go towards the bleeding edge of tech, that's what you do. You pay for diminishing returns. But I think we can all agree that NVIDIA has a bunch of features that AMD just simply doesn't have. So raster is not the only part of the equation, but if you only care about raster, yeah, don't pay double the price, even though these cards are going for closer to, what, 700-ish these days. What can I get a 9070 XT for? How many months has it been since release? Like 4 months now? What can we buy the one for? What is the going price today? 720. So the cheapest one is 720, which is still a decent amount over MSRP. And on Amazon, what do we got? Amazon non-OC going for 740. What the heck? Also, it's the same card, Asus Prime one, 720 here too. Gigabyte Gaming OC for 730. So yeah, these cards are still over 700 bucks. So it's not worth paying about a 50% increase for 20% more performance uplift for the NVIDIA. For a lot of people, but for some it is. And still can't run games native. I don't know, man. How much of this is blaming on the card versus the developers? Y'all notice new games these days, they default you to running FSR and DLSS and stuff like that. Like, you boot up a game, you go in the options, the default isn't native. The default is some kind of upscaling, sometimes with frame generation already turned on for you. So, you know, people who aren't super into tinkering around and messing with settings and stuff, they just like start playing the game off the bat. Yeah, they're already just playing with all that technology is like built in, just by default. So I don't know how much of it is to blame on the cards being weak versus that's just what's required nowadays. Games are getting more increasingly difficult to run, and we're just reaching like physical limitations of the hardware itself, and they got to come up with new tricks. What I'm curious about is how many more generations, because I'm pretty sure upscaling and like frame generation and these things are here to stay. It's just how long until people stop complaining about it and it just becomes normal. The only issue is it becomes way harder to review and test when you have more variables like upscaling on and off. So that's my big issue with it. Like, we're going to need a new standard. If upscaling becomes standard, we need to decide like, okay, what upscaling quality setting should we test at? Because you guys saw my latest video. That was like 40 something minutes long. I only tested 2 graphics cards across 10 games, and I only showed you guys one of the 3 runs for each of those that I did. There was triple the amount of runs. And I only tested at FSR and DLSS balanced mode. I didn't test quality, I didn't test performance, right? So you start getting this matrix of way too many different settings. Like, what is gonna be the default? And that's probably coming sooner rather than later. Mr. Eli says, I got the Ryzen 5 5600X and 3080 Ti and 32 gigs of DDR4 RAM with a Gigabyte motherboard. I work at Best Buy. And he said he hooked... Wait, what? I work at Best Buy, and he said he'd hook me up with a budget PC. So I don't know if 600 was a steal for the parts I have. Did I miss another part? Mr. Eli... Blah, 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 blah. And who's he? Where did you get this build from? 600 bucks? That's a crazy good deal. 3080 Ti's are still going for like 450, 500 bucks right now. So the fact that you got a whole working PC for 600, that's crazy good. Peckish says, I was surprised by how decent the RTX 5050 is in price to performance, at least here in Australia. Oh yeah, we can look at 5050 stuff. Is there any actual reviews of that out yet? Let me see. And we gotta look at the real benchmarks, not the fake ones that people make up. But $50 more than the RX 7600s in same performance, but DLSS 4 and AV1 encoder I think is worth it. Okay, let me see. 50-50. Oh wait. Did we take a look at this in the previous weeks? If we did, I don't have a memory of it because I have bad memory. But we can actually take a look at it right now. All right, give me a second. All right, let's take a look. Hardware unbox. So they released this 3 weeks ago. We might have looked at this a week or two ago, but again, my memory is so hazy right now. I am usually running on very little sleep. But let's take a revisit because I remember when we looked at it before the numbers came out, and a lot of people were dogging on it already, and I said, depending on the price, and if the performance comes in good enough, then it might not be a bad buy. So Hardware Unbox has it a couple of FPS behind the 7600, so exactly what you were saying, Peckish. At 1080p, let's take a look at 1440p numbers. At 1440p, it comes in quite a bit below. It's better than the 6650 XT, and it's quite below the. Remember, so I think when Nvidia first released these charts, they had it pretty close to a 4060. So that's not the case here. It's roughly like 10 to 15% slower. Yeah, if it came out at 250 and was like 4060, I think that would be pretty decent. So there's no 4K data because you wouldn't use this at 4K. But compared to the 4060 here, you're looking at about a 8% performance difference. So it does a lot worse in 1440p, surprisingly. Don't they both have the same amount of VRAM? This card has 8 gigs. So interesting to see that it's the 5050 is relatively close to the 4060 in 1080p. They have the same VRAM. Obviously, there's more to the architecture that affects the performance depending on the resolution than just video memory. But for it to drop a little bit more here is interesting to note. Can we buy these yet? What's going on with these? Oh, AC man is here. Mid-thought. Okay, guys. AC person is here. Just talk amongst yourselves. Come up with some good topics. So for when I get back, I can read the chat and all that. I might be popping in and out. It depends on if the AC guy needs me like with him the whole time. But yeah, I will be right back. Oh, yeah, sure. 1 second. All right, well, the AC was pretty fast.
My mom thought I didn't like boba, but I told her I just didn't want.
Okay, that's fine.
It's just no.
Okay. All right. We were talking about the 50/50. Yeah, can I buy this? What is this listing? Who is this person trying to sell $460 RTX 5050? What are you smoking? But, are these even available on Amazon? Or Newegg? Okay, so, oh, they are, okay. So, lowest price. So $250, they're sold out. Maybe they didn't have much of a stock, or maybe they're actually in. Well, no, there's this one's available. So MSI one is. So there's a decent amount available. Interesting. Yeah, there's multiple models. So the fact that this one's sold out is not really an indicator of how popular it is. I don't think. Are these on Amazon though? They are. I could get it as soon as tomorrow. So there's a bunch of them. So $250. What is, I mean, 7600s are still for sale, right? That's the thing. If there's no competition, then of course they're gonna sell because people are looking for. So RX 7600 non-XT. So they'll. If the trading blows and it comes with the NVIDIA features, you cannot cost more than it and compete. So is there any... No. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any much slower on the 7600 side of things on either website. Yeah, the lowest one's like $270, $280. Oh, you can... unless you're okay with refurbished, this is actually a pretty good deal. $210 for quote-unquote refurbished / used. Here's an open box one. But yeah, it quickly goes above 250. And then the first brand new one is like $280. So I don't know. Even with, you know, the performance, I mean, it's kind of hard to say at 1440p. I don't know how powerful these cards are going to be, especially for AAA gaming. But like, when you look at 39 compared to 42, that's what? Like a 9, no, it's like a 8% increase. But it's even closer here at like a 3% increase, right? But these frame rates are not high enough to get you a kind of a good resolution for the percentage uplift, because every 1 FPS difference here is like 2 to 3%. So this one's kind of hard to judge, really. Like, you can be skewed one way or another depending on the games that's tested. But I think it's pretty close to say it's neck and neck with the 7600. So coming in at $250, it compared to the 7600, which I don't know what people's opinions are on that. It doesn't seem like too bad of value, especially considering people thought it was going to be dog tier trash value. I would say sticking to the actual $250 price point and this performance level is not good by any means. You would be much better off buying something in the used market, like a 6700 XT, which is like way up here in the chart. But for a new card, what alternative? I mean, I guess you could buy the Arc B580, which it's not even that far behind either. That's also like about a 7-ish% difference in performance at 1080p. In Australia, the RX 7600 is readily available for $230 or $220 USD, brand new. Dang, what the heck is going on in the US? 50/50 versus a 40/60. Well, you can't even really get 40. Actually, 40/60s might still be in stock. Okay, maybe not. Oh yeah, there's one for $300 right here. but that's still $50 more. Even though the performance is decently better. It's a 20% increase in price for a less than 10% increase in performance. Yeah. So. $50 for some retro stuff like emulators. Is it enough? Honestly, I can't speak on emulators because what is retro emulators? You don't even need a 50/50. You could use like a 1060 or RX 580. We're talking about like Super Nintendo, Nintendo, Game Boy, things like that, right? But when you start going into the 3D emulators for things like PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Wii U, Xbox, and stuff like that, it does require more graphics power, though I don't know specifically that much about the different emulators and their requirements. I don't do any emulator testing, like, at all. I wouldn't even know where to start for that. But 50/50, you said retro stuff, like emulators, then that's more than enough. I've I've gone from the 3070 to the 4080 back in 2022. It was a substantial upgrade, at least double the performance in most games, with double the amount of VRAM I was previously working with. Yeah, that's huge. And the 4080 should still hold you over for a long time to come. So don't think about upgrading. Save your money. This is a GPU meant only for OEMs. You know, those pre-built PCs people buy at the supermarket for their young kids. It makes no sense for anyone to buy this 50/50 DIY. I mean, there's a lot of people who only have a certain amount to spend on a graphics card. And let's take a look at the B580 pricing again. I think those are getting a little better, at least on Newegg. I think we were seeing them for like 270, 280. Oh, 260. The market has healed. I would say at this point, if you don't need NVIDIA specific stuff, right, you get the card with 50% more VRAM and about 8% more performance uplift, according to Hardware Unboxed's charts, right? For only $10 more. I don't know how people feel. I don't know how many people are using like budget machines and budget cards in the audience like right now. But to be in that situation and to be comfortable with using an Intel card, I think for a lot of people, they find comfort in NVIDIA just because they've had it for a long time, and you know they have way more market share, and I don't know who cares about ray tracing on a card this cheap, but it's just one of those things that we've come to accept. People are comfortable with NVIDIA. People who are not super into the tech scene, reading up on the tech news, participating in online forums, in places of like discussion where they see a bunch of like bashing on NVIDIA, the average person, to them, NVIDIA is A-okay. And at $250, between that and this for only $260, they would pick the NVIDIA card. LOL, RTX 5050 for testing only. I mean, I feel like most people who watched the reviews on these watched it, like they hate watched it. Nobody goes into an RTX 5050 review saying, "Oh boy, I'm excited. This might be a good card." Everyone came in knowing they were going to be disappointed. People, I've noticed, They love hate watching stuff. If there is a negative thumbnail, negative title for the same product from even the same creator, it will get more views. So I don't remember what the thumbnail is for this. And also, to be fair, this isn't even that negative. This leaves it up for interpretation. Nvidia did it again. They didn't, Hardware Unboxed has been pretty critical and like have bashed products in the title before. For the 5050, I'm actually surprised they didn't bash it more. I feel like, actually, I guess I don't know what Steve's final thoughts on it are. He is standing, which that's a meme. If he's standing, then that's not a good thing in a video. People even talk about it in here. Let me see. Or they usually do. I can't find any comments about it. Oh, here it is. Good guy NVIDIA keeping Steve standing up, avoiding sedentary lifestyle, making health risks. So yeah, if you guys didn't know, if you see a hardware unbox video where Steve is standing in the beginning, that means it's not going to be a good review. But yeah. Just get a 5060. At least you're getting GDDR7 VRAM. What are the 5060 street prices these days? Is it only $50 more? In graphics card. Stop trying to show me pre-builts with 5060s in it. I'm asking... Oh my gosh. Video cards. Yeah, these are readily available. Okay. Showing me all these... GT630, boys, for $200. What a deal. Okay, stop showing me this garbage. 5050 Ti. Yo, is this brand new? There's the collector angle on this one. How many sealed in-box 5050 Ti's do you think exists? Okay, 5060. Oh, is that the lowest price one? 310. So you can get one, but you gotta get Zotac. And I guess this design's not that bad. Zotac finally cleaning up their design. It's still a pretty short, fat, stubby card, but definitely looks better this generation, in my opinion. Wow, that's the only card available, like the cheapest one. Then it's a huge jump up. What is this? Why? Newegg, stop bombarding me with garbage. So you can get open box ones for $289. Okay, here we go. What? I sorted by price. Why did this not show up? They are available, readily available. So $50 more. Yeah, see, that's really strange to me. Why the performance difference is so between 1080p and 1440p. But yeah, it's not just the VRAM capacity. The GT 1030 in Australia is $40 USD. Perfect display adapter. That's a pretty good price. I don't think I could find it for that cheap in the US. GT 1030s. Let's see on eBay. I like the GT 1030. It's a quick, throw it in a test bench, no power required, and you can quickly test like other hardware. GT 1030. Oh, okay. So used ones are 50 here. I don't know if there's gonna be any new one. Oh, look at this one. No fan, passive, just like a heatsink, passive cooling. Yes, no more Zotac spaceship designs. I did not like the previous generation of Zotac cards. If you don't mind gift card, Newegg has the Gigabyte 9060 XT 8 gigs for $299 with $50 gift card. Is that still going on? I thought we talked about that like a couple of weeks ago. Let me see. Gift cards, if you buy from Newegg normally, I mean, it's as good as cash. Here it is. Our free mouse pad. So do you buy the one with the free mouse pad because you like Sapphire? Or nah, we go for the... Ooh, look at this one. Jeez, this is $340, almost the price of a 16 gig version. But you get the 45 off. Yeah, so this one for $250, which isn't this isn't always ongoing. I think aside from if you want the more VRAM from the Intel Arc card, this would be the card to get. Let's look at the charts at 1080p numbers. Do they even have the 9060 XT 8GB on here? They do. Look at that. Look at the spread. Even the 9060 XT 8 gig versus the 12 gig Arc B 580. From 70 to 95, that's what percentage is that? That's like 25, 30% or something. Let's look at 1440p. And remember, the Arc card is $260. So it's a little bit more expensive. This is where where's the Arc card? Yeah, see? Intel Arc 52 versus 61. That's like 18%. I don't know, somewhere around there. But more VRAM doesn't always mean more better. At 250 Intel Arc 12 gig B580 versus 8 gig 9060 XT. 9060 XT is just a more powerful card. Yes, we would have loved it to have at least 12 gigs of VRAM. It does have a 16 gig version card, but that costs $50 more. Even the 1% lows performance on here is better. So, yeah. I think that would be the hands down winner, but I don't know how long the promotion goes on for. Doback Slaps, how you doing? Membership for 10 months. Thanks for the support, Doback Slaps. I appreciate it. How you doing? Matthew Hernandez asks, what PC budget would a 9060 XT 16 gig make sense for? 1,000? Yep, that's good. I would say $1,000. You could probably build a PC for less than like 900 if you go AM4 and maybe 16 gigs of RAM and stuff like that. Like, you could build a cheaper system with it. Maybe even 850. And if you mix in used parts, for sure. But I would say pretty standard if you're going like all new parts and you're thinking of like future proofing in mind, going on AM5, 32 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte storage, you know, decent power supply and case. I would say $1,000. And that's exactly what my build guide kind of shows. Even though I mixed in some used parts so I can save some money and put it towards a white aesthetic budget. More VRAM is better. For better textures, it's been proven. Yeah, but I guess it depends on what kind of gamer you are. Are you like the pixel peeper one, or do you focus more on the gameplay? Where you will see the perceived smoothness, which as you saw from the charts, the 1% lowest performance was a little bit better on the 8 gigabyte 9060 XT, but there is a bigger spread versus the average, but you can always frame cap, right? So, okay, let's take a look at these numbers real quick. So 9060 XT 8 gig, it has 61 average FPS, you know, across all the games, with a 41, oh, it's not zooming in, with the 41 1% low. So the bigger this spread is, the more you could perceive like unsmoothness, like stuttery and stuff like that. The Arc B580, we've got 52 versus 39. This is better in that the spread isn't that much, but at the same time, you could take your 9060 XT. Actually, I'm pretty sure if you frame cap it at 52, you're going to get better 1% lows than 41. This will probably jump up a little bit. So it'll still perform better. Now, that's just based on the average frame rate and 1% lows and not with texture popping and misting textures and stuff like that. But it depends also on what you're playing. Like, are you playing AAAs at ultra settings? I forget, like, what do they test at? Like, yeah, see, well, that's Marvel Rivals at 1080p. If Hardware Unboxed tests at 1440p Ultra, which I'm trying to look for, there's 1080p data. Where's the 1440p? I don't know if they test 1440p at Ultra, but let's just say $250 graphics cards should not be targeting AAA titles at 1440p Ultra settings, right? What you do is you turn down the settings. Like, you got your expectations kind of have to be within reason. So I don't know. It's just you gotta make the decision for yourself. I am personally okay with 8 gigs of VRAM at $250. Like, I would pick a 9060 XT 8GB over the Arc B580. Yes, a GPU is not just VRAM. Like, again, I would also pick a 3070 over the 12GB 3060 Ti. I would... It's kind of hard to say, but with my latest video showing the 10GB 3080 versus the 16GB 9060 XT is not the same, because obviously the 9060 XT has the benefits of being brand new with warranty and all that kind of stuff. But let's just assume NVIDIA released a 10GB VRAM card today at $350 that performed just like the 3080 does, brand new with warranty and all that stuff. So it's apples to apples comparison. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards, the card that has potentially 20% better performance, even though it doesn't have as much VRAM. It has 10 gigs, which for $350 at the resolutions and settings that you're gonna likely play at, I think I would rather just go for the 10 gig card that performs better. But again, it's all up to personal preferences, right? To me, it never makes sense to pick the noticeably weaker card just because it has more VRAM. But you guys have heard me talk about this many a times on stream. No one's saying we don't want more VRAM. We just want it for free and not at $100 markup, which is what NVIDIA does. AMD is a little bit more reasonable. Well, NVIDIA's markup this time around for the 5060 Ti versus non-Ti was like, what, $70? But what up, Hazard Me? What's the watt differences? Oh, that's a good point. Let's take a look. Let's look at the power draw of that 5050. And then the Intel and 9060 XT 8GB. Okay, we got that one. So this one, power draw or target, the TDP is 130 for the 5050. And then for the 9060 XT 8GB is 150. And let's look at the RTX 5060. That one is, so these are all like around 150. Yeah, 145. So these are all pretty low power draw cards. Oh, wait. And then Intel Arc B580. This one is 190. So the Arc B580 is the highest. if buying GPU, take monitor resolution and CPU into consideration and budget than GPU. I'm gonna be honest. When I think of a gaming computer or like putting together a gaming computer, I think of the graphics card first. And obviously, like normally, yes, you should plan around your monitor and stuff like that. But I have a 1440p ultra wide, so it's quite a bit of pixels. I say that as I run a B580, but I think realistically, if I wasn't a content creator, the graphics card that I would naturally land on right now would be, I think, the 9070 and 9070 XT is a little bit more expensive than my liking. I'd like to land right around like the $400 to $500 range for graphics cards. And the 9070 series, both those cards are a little bit over that price. And I am not a huge fan of like the 60 Ti series cards. So I think naturally, if I wasn't, trying to daily the Arc B580, I think I would have landed on the 9060 XT 16 gigabytes. I kind of want to daily that card. It just doesn't fit in my case. At least the one that I have. I've got the Power Color Hellhound on hand right now. But it's too long to fit in my ITX case. So I don't know if I could make it fit, but I still plan to daily the Arc B580 for a while longer. But yeah. Stang asks, hey Danny, is raster performance for a GPU important when it comes to making a choice? I think so, because even with upscaling and frame generation and all of that, I think raster gives you a really good idea of the raw performance of the card. Because if you're going to compare two cards, yes, you can apply upscaling and frame generation to the weaker card to make it perform better, but you could also do that to the more powerful card, right? So I think rasterization is like a way to purely look at the actual hardware itself without any of the drivers or software affecting the performance. And then you can assume if you needed more performance, you could get the uplift if you wanted. I think when you start comparing, like, especially when you're doing it across different technologies, like FSR versus DLSS, you start muddying up the waters of being able to do an apples to apples comparison, because people already can't agree on what looks better. Well, I think most people agree that DLSS looks better, but FSR is close enough, and AMD cards are the better value, so it's good enough. But I think raster, to me, is still important, even though I end up using FSR and DLSS. I guess not DLSS right now. I use FSR because it's available to my Arc B580 card. But I do use upscaling when I personally game, because I'm not pixel peeping. I'm playing the game. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I think we're gonna start moving towards people not gaming at like native resolution in the near future. But I think benchmarks and stuff should still show like just pure raster, because it gives people a better indication of the baseline performance of the card. And in terms of like ray tracing, I guess you asked more. Sorry, I went on like the upscaling, down the upscaling rabbit hole. If you were talking more of the raster versus ray tracing, I don't care about ray tracing. Like, if we're gonna be honest, I never turn on ray tracing. I turn that crap off. And part of that is because I don't have the most powerful graphics card in the world. I feel like ray tracing is not worth turning on if you have a graphics card under, like, I don't know, $500 or something. Like, at that point, the performance hit just isn't worth it. Sure, you can make up for it with, again, frame gen, upscaling and stuff like that, but I just don't care. Like, looking side by side at a ray traced quality like game image versus just ultra quality without ray tracing, which still runs better, Like, I think a lot of games, even if it's not real lighting and ray traced, I think the lighting and shadows and stuff looks fine at ultra settings. I don't want to take a huge hit in performance. So for something that looks, I mean, if you were to like pixel peep side by side, sure, you can say ray tracing looks better, but does it really look better at the cost of half the FPS? To me, it doesn't. This is a good point too. Tanmay. What is annoying to me is that a lot of the companies, there's only 3 companies, but the companies, they always like to talk about like, oh, this is how this card performs with DLSS, or this is how it performs with FSR or XESS. Bro, you know how many games, I guess I would say there's more support from what the games at least that I test and play. There's more support for upscaling than there's ray tracing. Like, people are buying these graphics cards for these features, and games just don't even support it. I would say, yeah, that's my rant for ray tracing, at least. I'm cool with upscaling and all that stuff. Ray tracing, I do not care about, like, at all. That's why I rarely test. I test ray tracing in 3 games in the latest video, because most of the other ones didn't have ray tracing. I think only 3 of the 10 games I tested in the latest video had ray tracing. I think I would have done more had they supported it, but they just didn't have it. A decent amount of them had upscaling though. Also, all this X3D CPU versus standard CPU stuff, obvious X3D is for gaming and more cores for workload. I think the whole X3D thing, like, unless you have a lot of money to spend, which is, in this case, what, $350 to $400? I guess it's hard to say because the 7600 X3D is not readily available to everyone. So, for the most part, if you're living in the US, not near a Micro Center, if you're going to get an X3D chip, the cheapest one is going to be the 7800 X3D, which is like $350 plus. I don't know how many people have the budget to spend on a single, just the CPU for that. Your budget would need to at least be like $1,500 to $2,000 if you're going to be building a PC with the 7800 X3D in it. I think non-X3D chips are just fine. Like, the X3D, sure, it'll get you more frames, but I think for the most part, you could get better not better performance, but like a more enjoyable experience, either saving money or just getting like, a 9600, 9600X, 7600, whichever, and spending a little bit more money on your graphics card. It's not like the non-XDD chips have that horrible of performance, or like, cause the frame times and 1% loads to be that bad. That like now, oh my god, you don't have an XDD chip, you're stuttering, and I don't know. I feel like people think they're like these pro esports gamers that can notice, the difference between like a 10% difference and 1% lows. But I would love to perform a blind test and tell people this system has just like a 9600X in it, and this one has a 9800X 3D. They're both playing at 4K on like nice graphics cards. Can you tell me what CPU's in either computer without overlays being turned on? And I don't think people would be able to tell the difference. But that's just me. I don't have the resources to do that kind of a test though. Out in like public or something, or at like an event. But I think people overestimate their ability while playing games. Like, I think stutters and stuff are noticeable, but when you're talking about the difference, especially at high resolutions, like AAA titles, where you're for the most part GPU bottlenecked. X3D versus non X3D, it's not much of a discussion for me unless you just have the money to spend on it. I like this take. I think we're all kind of in the same boat and society is taking a turn. But to be honest, as long as we enjoy the games and each other's company is the main thing. That's like my biggest takeaway. And I talk about this all the time with PC gaming. If is there a let's see drawing pad? Okay, sketch pad. Can I draw on this? Okay. So let's look at like a scale, right? For PC gaming. So at this part of the scale, it's a 0. You have don't own a PC. Right? So in terms of the PC gaming experience, from a scale from 0 to 10, if you don't have a PC, you're just sitting at a 0. I'm sorry. On this side of the scale, the 10, this is like maxed out PC. Right? So this is like, I don't know, like a $5,000 whatever PC. Just maxed out PC and peripherals. Where would you put if you had a budget, like let's just say $500 PC? So it's running like an RTX 3060 with a Ryzen 5600. You know, think of like a pretty budget, like 3 generation old hardware PC that you get from the used market. Where would you put a $500 budget PC on the scale of 0 to 10? Remember, don't own a PC versus the maxed out PC that gives you the peripherals. In terms of enjoying your PC, having fun gaming, where do you put that? I personally would put just having a functional computer that can play modern games, even if it's at 1080p, I give that a 7. So this is a $500 budget PC. Sorry, I'm writing with my mouse, so it's kind of ugly. The difference between this to the maxed out PC, to me, is not that big. Having super, like, and assume, you know, you're at least gaming at 1080p here, you're at least getting, like, 60 FPS, whatever. To me, PC gaming is about playing the games themselves. It is not about having to max out the resolution. It is not about having to max out the graphic setting. It is not having to run at 240 FPS, whatever. Just gaming gets you so close to the potential max experience to me. I don't know. Some people might put I've come across people on the internet that they would put a $500 budget PC at like a 1. To them, they would almost like not even have this PC if they have to have it. They have to have the nicest stuff. It is a miserable experience, but I don't know. That's not my mindset. Like, you know, when you play a game, it comes with a story, it comes with the gameplay, even the multiplayer aspect of it, gaming with your friends. All those things are not tied to a resolution. They're not tied to a graphic settings. They're not tied to a frame rate. They're tied to just the game itself. So, yeah, this has always been my take on this. Like, you can enjoy so much of PC gaming, like so close to the max potential with not that much money. But not everybody thinks like that. And I don't know, maybe it's just the result of, you know, growing up poor for a decent amount of my life and not having much money. But you learn to appreciate things for what they are. RTX 3060. You can build a RTX 3060. You can get for like $200 nowadays. Pair it with the used Ryzen 5600. I mean, we're talking used here, not new, Logan. So I could probably build a $500 RTX 3060 Ryzen 5600 desktop using used parts, of course, with 16 gigs of RAM, at least a 500 gig SSD, case, everything for around $500. We can call it let's call it a $600 budget PC then. We'll call it $600 budget, make it a little bit easier. Still, with this PC with very mid, by this point, it might be considered a little bit lower than mid, since we're talking about mid-range parts from like, 2 generations ago. I still think my answer is still the same. Bob says it's a 5 in their opinion. But if you think about it, if a $600 PC can give you a 5 experience and a maxed out PC, maxed out PCs, everything considered, is going to be at least 3K to like 5K, right? So the fact that you could get even half of the enjoyment and happiness spending quite literally like almost a tenth of the price, a sixth of the price if you're comparing to like a $3,000 build, that's pretty amazing. You're getting a bang for buck deal right here, right? So that's the difference between a hobbyist and an enthusiast. I mean, that's true. Well, what makes an enthusiast an enthusiast? Just because they like nicer, more expensive things? You could be a tinker and super into PCs and still only operate around the budget range. I'm pretty sure a lot of people actually, especially younger people with no money, they can become PC enthusiasts working with lower price builds. But I'm taking hobbyist and enthusiast to like a literal definition, but you're probably talking about the classification of like how they grade parts, right? Like you're talking about like entry level parts, mid range parts, and enthusiast grade. So sorry, that's likely what you mean. But and then Logan, I did see your other message. Let me read it off. With your update, where was that? I should have updated you a while ago, but we recently moved into an RV, starting over. I have to use a laptop now, but at least it uses an RTX 3060, so that's a huge upgrade. So living conditions has changed, but where do you get the laptop? Because yes, a 3060 laptop is huge, especially since you use Blender over the RX 580 that you had, and then I'm assuming this thing has at least like a more modern processor. Because you were still working on the Ivy Bridge i7. So yeah, you're not glad to hear that you had to move an RV, but glad to hear that you now have a much more powerful system for your Blender uses. To me, 4 to 5, slightly better than a console. The way I look at it is that I would rather game on a $300 Scrapyard Wars budget PC than console. Even the latest PS5 Pro or whatever the heck the newest thing is. And you guys have heard me harp on this so many times. I'm a big MMORPG player, so a lot of MMORPGs are exclusive to PC, so you just can't play them on console. But also, the multitasking that you can do on a PC is just way better than console. Just trying to like browse, have an extra screen on with like YouTube playing, or needing to quickly look something up. If you're playing a game and you need to look up something to reference maps, or where something is, or having Discord on at the same time, doing that on a console just sounds horrible. Like imagine you're gaming, like when I'm playing whatever game, and then my friends who I'm also gaming with in a Discord chat, and they're like, oh yeah, check out this picture, and they send me a Discord message. Like, to pop over to it to look at the message and all that stuff, it just sounds not fun at all. So again, I'm all about the gameplay, not so much the graphic settings. And I know consoles have exclusives too, but I mean, I don't really care. A lot of the console exclusive eventually make their way to PC. Or at least they're starting to. ADLSN says, watch one of your videos about a week ago and enjoyed it. Remind me, a year ago I got a 1660 Super, which actually was never used, so it was like buying it new. In your opinion, yes, a 3070 is a huge upgrade up from a 1660 Super. But depending on how much did you already buy the 3070? Do you already have it on hand? Because we just talked about other cards that you can get. See, the thing about 3070s is, if you are to look for one in the used market right now, they're still kind of expensive for what they are. I mean, I think they're still going for 250-ish, but we'll have to see. I don't think it makes sense to buy a used 3070 unless you need NVIDIA specifically. To buy a used 3070 for... This is a 3070M, so that doesn't count. This one's broken, so that doesn't count. But they're going to be... I guess it's 230. This one's broken. So you look at 230 for a used 3070. At that point, just spend the extra $20 and get that 9060 XT 8GB with the $50 Newegg discount or a gift card. Spend the extra $30 and get a brand new one, unless you need the NVIDIA stuff specifically. But compared to a 5050 would be worse than this. You just got into the... Okay, so you didn't buy it yet? Yeah, don't... This is the deal to get, in my personal opinion. And chat, let me know what you guys think. For around $250, this one is a gift card. I know it's not the exact same thing as cash, but if you needed to buy an SSD or RAM or anything else where you're going to spend that $50 gift card anyways, this is the card to get. I think this 8GB card is fine at $250. So you buy this, you get the $50 gift card, and you buy that, you know, SSD or RAM that you're going to buy anyways, effectively making this card $250. This is a much better deal than the 3070, especially if you don't need NVIDIA specific, you know, like hardware and capabilities and their software. Then this is the deal to go to. Ryzen Dave is asking what resolution monitor. I'm not sure if the resolution of the monitor really matters, because even if they're on 1440p, for $250, I think I would still pick this over the Intel Arc card, to be honest. I mean, we saw the numbers. This performs better, even in 1% lows, and you can bring up the whole textures issue, but for $250, is anyone really going to be playing AAA titles at ultra settings? I don't think so. But that's my personal opinion. If you wanted a second option, and you can be convinced, then this would be the second card to get. You can, and I guess with this one, you don't have to deal with the gift card, so you could just buy it for the price that it is. This is Sparkle. Nope, you don't want that one, dude. Why is Newegg being so stupid right now? Where did that card just go? I'm sorting it by lowest price. We just saw... Give me 1 second. Intel Arc. Newegg, you're so bad. Huh? You guys are seeing this? We just saw that Onyx Black card for the B580 for $259. Why did it not just show up on the search? Here it is. What the heck? What? Okay, anyways. These are your two options for the price range you're working with, unless you're willing to spend a lot more, and by a lot I mean about $100 more, you can get the 16 gigabyte version of this. But if you have about 250 to work with, which is what I'm assuming you have because you're looking at a 3070, then it's one of these two. I would not fault you for going with either or. You can get an RX 6800 for $320 on eBay. Yeah, so doing that, yeah, but then you're I mean, with the NVIDIA card, you're looking at 2-gen old software. I don't know, man. I think it is worth, FSR 4 is worth, is worth getting the 90 series for. Also, like, yeah, a 6800 is $320, so not only is it more expensive, I know it performs better, but you're talking about a used card that's potentially how many years old now, right? At some point, you stop buying like the older stuff because of age itself. Capacitors fail, right? And most people are not going to be able to do repairs on stuff like that, and getting it repaired by a shop is pretty expensive. So 2020 is not to say all cards are this old. Some people might have bought it, later on, used it less, etc. But it's kind of a crapshoot. These also came out when mining was pretty big, and there was like a huge shortage in cards. Pandemic happened, and then the crypto miners were buying a bunch of these, as well as the other, 6700 XTs and stuff up to mine on. So I don't know. I think I would still recommend these two cards. A 6800 is awesome. I agree. It still performs well today, but just given everything being used, slightly higher price, and then, potential to just die on you because it's, been in operation potentially for almost 5 years, it's kind of up in the air. What's the minimum card for 4K gaming? I would say with that, I mean, with the newest titles, even a 5090 and 5080, you have to turn on upscaling, right? I would say 9070 XT, 5080, or 5090. It's not that you can't run 4K stuff on a 5070 Ti, but do we consider 4K with like balanced or quality mode upscaling, which is really the equivalent of a lower resolution? It's just, made to look nicer. Do we consider that true 4K? It depends on what your definition of 4K is, but yeah, I would say 4K AAA titles, it would be 9070 XT or above. I have a 7900 XT. Don't give a crap for FSR 4. I don't see them as a big deal. It's not that, like, not FSR 3 is still fine. And the 7900 XT was only 1 gen ago, so that's a little bit different than comparing it to like a 6800. All things considered, I think 7900 XTs are technically still being sold right now. I think deals have been popping up for them randomly at somewhat reasonable prices. But yeah, if you only have a 1 generation old card, then definitely don't even worry about what's coming out right now. 2020 is not too old, but considering all the other things that I just mentioned, I would be more wary about picking up a 2020 card. If there's no alternatives, then sure. But okay, let's take a look. let's look at 1440p as well. Where's the 1440p results? So we look at a 6800. Is it even on here? It is not. But we know a 6800 performs around the range here for almost the same price. Like a 6800, I think it's, where is it relative to? It's pretty close to like a 7700 XT, right? So why buy a 4-year-old used graphics card with that doesn't even have support for the newest features when you can pay $30 more, get it brand new, have a warranty, be the first owner, have no worries about it potentially failing on you, with 16 gigs of video memory right here for $350. I think it would have to be lower in price for me to be like, yes, definitely that's the better buy. But I've already mentioned this multiple times. The 9060 XT has positioned itself very well, and the rest of the market, the used market, hasn't shifted accordingly yet. Everything that performs around the performance level of a 9060 XT 16 gig, it needs to drop in price. Because this thing being available brand new for how much it goes for, like everything else needs to go down in price. Yeah, so 6800, 7700 XT, and 9060 XT are all about the same in raster. But we know the 9060 XT it's the third generation of ray tracing for AMD, and so that I guess I haven't looked at the ray tracing performance, but is there ray tracing results in here? Ray tracing. I don't know if there is, but 7700 XTs are stupid. If you look at the used market for those, they're stupid expensive considering the relative performance to a 9060 XT. And then 6800s kind of are in the same boat. Even if the performance isn't that bad, it's just 2 generations old. I think there's some value to be had for having the latest generation. But let's look at the 7700 XT prices, right? I already talked about it in the videos. The price has dropped a bit, but it still doesn't make sense for it to cost $365, considering it's used and 1 generation old. You can get the 9060 XT for the same price. Let's look at a 6800. 6800, please. Oh my god, why are you auto-completing? Oh my goodness, eBay, I'm going to kill you. Buy it now. Okay. These things are going for 310 is the lowest one in the US. So about 300. I mean, it's $50 less, but I think I would still lean towards the newer card. What's the power draw on this? Versus a 9060 XT. The power draw on the 6800 is 250 watts, and then the 9060 XT is 160. So pretty big difference. So for $50 more, you get FSR4. You get a brand new card with warranty. You're the first owner. You get a lower power draw card that can be paired with a lower, a lower wattage power supply. You get the 2 generations newer ray tracing. What else do you have? Who is hosting the next LAN and any sponsors locked up? No sponsors locked up yet. I need to actually start reaching out to sponsors because LAN is in like 2.5 months. So I need to start doing that. But next LAN video, I'm really hoping to get out in August. But then the next actual LAN occurring is going to be in at some point in October. Reluctant Hero went with the RX 6800 for the Bazite build instead of the 9060XT 16 gigs because Linux isn't using FSR4 features yet. So in my mind, paying more for features I can't use didn't compute. How much did you get your 6800 for? It sounds like you did get it for cheaper than the 9060XT goes for. But I think that's more recent. When like the first couple of weeks that the 9060XT released, the previous gen cards were still stupid expensive. It's just because there wasn't a huge gen over gen uplift to the 7000 series, and then there was like no replacement cards in the 90 series really, so all the older cards still held on to their value for a bit. 320 shipped, and it was this month. Okay, so you still got it for cheaper. Which, I mean, that's fine. You still eat dino nuggets at LAN parties? Every single LAN party. I don't think we've missed dino nuggets. We might have missed making them, but we've always bought them. I think there might have been one LAN or two where we bought dino nuggies and then we totally forgot. So then like the last day we're like rushing to eat them all. But yeah, I think we've been buying dino nuggies every LAN pretty much. Cuyo Rio says, yo, what up? Hypothetically, if I ordered a 5090 if an ordered 5090 is on the way paired with an Intel 1470KF undervolted, would you go with the 1000 watt or 1200 watt? I have an 850 watt currently. I guess it would depend on the model of the 5090, but if you're running those things, the price difference between a 1000 and 1200 watt shouldn't be that much. I would just go with the 1200 watt, especially with a quality one. Just because there's been so many, like, you're, hypothetically, you're talking about a 5090, which I don't know how blown out of proportion the issue was, but I still see melted cable stories to this day on Reddit. I'm not saying that's like a huge percentage of them. If I had to guess, it's well within single digit, and if not, like, just a few percent, right? It's just the people who have the problems sometimes are the loudest, the vocal minority in terms of like posting to social media to get their problem solved and stuff like that. So it's hard to say how many cable melting issues there are with the 5090, but we know that it exists. So you've got that, which is potentially one problem, and then you've got the 14th gen i7, which they've already put out the BIOS update for the fiction stuff, but previously that had problems too. So I would say you're already well within, like, you spent like over 2K, if not like closer to 2400 on a graphics card. Spending the extra 30 or 40 bucks between a 1000 to 1200 watt PSU, just go with the 1200 watt, and make sure it's like, a quality one, and just have the peace of mind that it's going to be made with slightly better quality cables. And just don't worry about any power issues. I penny pinch between power supplies and stuff when I'm doing budget builds or like under a certain amount. But after you like spend over $2,000 on a computer, spending 40 or 50 bucks more for a power supply is just like a no-brainer. It's when you have like $800 where every 20 to 30, $40 is a big difference, then yeah, I'm like, okay, I'll go with the C tier power supply. I'll go for the 650 instead of the 750, etc. But You're well beyond that. You're in the territory where this is like I don't like I have more money than I know what to do with. Just go with the 1200. What do you guys play at LAN parties? Most recently, I mean, we always play Grand Theft Auto. That's always fun. We didn't play Halo this time around. I'm trying to think. The most recent LAN party we had back in April, we actually did not game as a group as much. It was a lot of independent, like, small group gaming and just more hanging out. We played Repo. What else did we play? Yeah, it was more of a hangout session. So, but it should be a good video regardless. Skyward King says, when is the next LAN video dropping? I need to get my LAN fixed vicariously through you since I don't have a friend group at the moment. A friend group for it at the moment. The next LAN video I'm hoping is next month. I've been sitting on the footage. It's just, with the twins here, it's been a struggle to get content out. So, yeah. There's been enough time, so I'm going to say it. Traditional 8 pins were more stable. I don't think many people would disagree with you on that. Yeah. It was just, when you start getting more power hungry cards, getting 3 of those 8 pins. I guess if you got cable combs and stuff, it looks okay, but it's a little much plugging in 3 separate PCIe 8 pin power cables in, but you definitely heard less about those cables melting. Is Be Quiet Peer Power a good PSU? I don't know where the peer. I'm pretty sure all of Be Quiet, most of Be Quiet stuff is on the upper parts of the tier list. At least B tier or better. That one specifically, I don't know off the top of my head. You definitely want to look into the power supply you're getting, because even some of the A and B tier power supplies, you'll find posts on like Reddit or Twitter and stuff like that of them being potentially more problematic and higher chances of failure. Not every power supply that's like rated A or B tier are indestructible. Some of them do have problems, and then the tier list isn't like, it's not instantaneously to catch up and update the information. So just be aware. Like, do a little bit of research. How about, it's funny how you say how about a taco bar for the next LAN, because we kind of had a taco bar for the previous LAN. Let me see if I can bring up the footage. If I can bring it up, I can show it to you. But if I cannot, just give you guys some teaser since people keep on asking about the LANs. But, it's been pretty busy. Where is that taco bar? So we already did the taco bar. I messed up and did not get enough chicken. I need to make sure the footage doesn't have Melissa in it. That's the only thing. So let me see. Oh, I think this all has Melissa in it. No, it all has Melissa. Oh, wait. This one might not. Nope, it has her. Dang it. Give me a second. I'm looking for it still. My goodness, when did we start eating? There's plenty of footage of it, but Melissa's just sitting in plain sight. Okay, we're just gonna have to go with the steaming tray. Okay, maybe I can do this so that I don't show Melissa. Okay, we're gonna try it. Okay. Here we go. All right, taco bar, and I'm gonna try not to show Melissa.
We can have both.
Oh, now I gotta skip because he's in there somewhere. Okay. So we have these trays. We got, you know, limes and chopped veggies, chips and guac and salsa and all that kind of stuff. That's the seasoned chicken meat. Let me see. Oh, you guys almost saw her cut off right at the right moment. But yeah, so we did like DIY tacos, and the tortillas were heating up over here. You know it's a taco because of the cholula. But yeah, so great minds think alike. You mentioned a taco bar. We had a taco bar. It was actually really good. I just messed up. I bought a tray of chicken that I had to use part of it for Indian curry, and I thought it was enough, but there was not enough chicken meat. I'm pretty sure people would eat more tacos if we had more meat, but I messed up. I didn't get enough chicken. So never again. In the future, I will always get more food by a long shot. Playing with fire for the taco bar footage. Exactly. There's also... Where's the steaming trays? Actually, let me see. Nope, that's just me cutting meat. Where is the steaming trays? Nope, there's Melissa. Man, Melissa's in all this footage. You know how much blurring I have to do to get her out of it? Here's a quick shot of the... We had those, because we had a baby shower. You know these trays with the little fire thingies that you put underneath them? So it has like these little canisters, and you put water in it and it keeps it warm. So we had that going. So it was like it was a lot fancier than what we normally do. Oh, we're talking about power supplies. EVGA makes good power supplies. They don't make their own PSUs. Yeah, I don't know what... Actually, I haven't been... So, EVGA has kind of been in a weird spot. Anyone know if they've released any new power supply models recently? I don't know the last time I bought a brand new EVGA power supply. I don't even know when the last time I bought like a B-stock / used refurbished EVGA power supply. Okay, no, I take that back. I mean, I probably bought one in the last year or two for like a used build, but I don't know the situation on EVGA power supplies right now. Like, have they released anything recently? Are they? Yeah, I think they're still around. Let me see. EVGA. I mean, it's funny that on the Google search, it still says NVIDIA, America's #1 NVIDIA partner. They need to update that because that changed a little bit ago. But if you go to the website products, so they still have power supplies, gaming keyboards. They just took all the graphics cards off? Design concepts, okay. This is like all old stuff. If this is a next gen card and we're looking at 30 series, my goodness, did they just let this website sit to rot? Okay. Yeah, so if we go to the products, like normally, even if a company doesn't make any more of a certain product, they still would have legacy products listed on here. They just removed all of that, interestingly enough. But in terms of power supplies, I mean, I don't know if any of these are even new models. Let's see. Let me look at cybernetics. See if they have anything EVGA listed on here. Database. Power supply performance database. Manufacturer. I mean, it says manufacturer, but they don't actually make it. Okay. Report date 2024. So, what? This is just This is just the date that they did the report. When did this actually come out? Test date 2024, report date, receipt date. So they got this in 2024. Okay, like a Supernova 850G for the win. This might be a newer one. It's got a very similar naming scheme to like the previous, Supernovas. But they always change it up by throwing in a letter or throwing in for the win and stuff. Did they have an actual release date? So, I mean, doesn't look like there's anything for 2025, but this is a 2024. It doesn't look like they put release date information, though. We would have to do further looking for that. I think usually, yeah. See, so this Supernova, I mean, this is potentially like from 2023. Cybernetics, I don't know how big their staff is, how many people they have working on these, but yeah, this date, it just might have been that they received it and got to it like later. It might have been a good almost 2 years since EVGA has launched the power supply. But that's kind of sad. EVGA for a really long time was like one of the known brands that people typically go to. Even though EVGA and every brand is capable of making bad power supplies, EVGA has its fair share of power supplies that find itself in the D and F tier of the tier list, right? You can't just say EVGA makes good power supplies. All companies potentially have the potential to make good power supplies as well as bad ones. But yeah, I honestly haven't given them much thought, because if you look on Amazon or Newegg, EVGA power supplies, which used to be plenty of deals for, like, I think they're just weirdly priced now. Like a 750N1, this is I think an F tier power supply for $70. A 1000 GQ 134. So like, they're not really in the market of like, budget decent power supplies anymore. All their stuff, they're priced as if they've been phased out. Like, it used to be you could go and grab a pretty reliable EVGA, like, around a C tier power supply, maybe even a D tier for like $50-$60. Now, the only option that's even somewhat affordable is one that everyone tells you to ignore. Kid Maji Boo. Little late to the party. Will there be 5070 Supers? I mean, it's all rumor, but they're projecting by the end of the year, we're looking at 18 gig cards, so we'll see if that holds true. Is the 5070 good? I think it's for $550. If you need an Nvidia card, it's not a bad buy. It's not amazing, but it's not bad. It's kind of like pretty average, the performance for the price. Nvidia could be lying about supers. I mean, have they failed to launch super cards since what, 16 series? I mean, we've had supers for 20 series, 30 series, 40. I think it's pretty likely we're gonna get 50s. But when is the question? A friend owned a computer shop for 40 years. Thermaltake is all he would sell, and they were the best and never had a problem with them. Same thing. Thermaltake makes good power supplies and bad ones. As long as you choose the ones that are, at least in my opinion, C tier or above, you shouldn't have many problems. Make your own pasta bar for a future LAN, cheap and easy. We've done pasta before, but I mean, what's a DIY pasta bar? The issue about doing like a bar type thing is you have to buy so many different ingredients if you want it to be a truly bar, right? Like when we had the sandwich bar, and then some of the stuff doesn't get eaten up, so you have so many leftovers, which I guess isn't a problem, but it's a lot of work prepping. So if you want a DIY pasta bar and you want like different sauces, different meats and all that, it's a little bit. I don't know how much in future lands I can help prep and go early and stuff. Now that the twins are here, it is different. Someone else is gonna have to take the mantle of like potentially doing the shopping for food and the planning for food. I would say in almost every LAN party to date, I have played a heavy role in the shopping for supplies as well as the meal planning. But I don't know if I can continue to do that now that I'm so busy with the girls. So food's expensive. I'd say everyone should bring a dish. That's kind of hard to do. And if everyone brought a dish, that'd be too much. And, yeah, that's a lot of work to have that many people prepare that many individual meals. Cooking at LAN is fun, so I don't mind that, to like doing that when you have like 4 or 5 people doing it at the same time, cooking like a cohesive meal together. But having everyone bring individual ones, I think that'd be pretty difficult. I'm pretty sure that would end up with some people waiting till the last minute, rushing and not being able to bring meals at all. So I would rather have it be planned and then we just cook it there, to make sure that it happens. You know how hard it is to organize and tell like 14 people to do something and expect it to actually get done? It's pretty difficult. I'd rather not leave it up to chance. Yeah, let alone one person. People don't like cooking anymore. It's been a struggle for me and Melissa to cook because, we have our hands full with the twins like all day. So for the first like month, we unfortunately ordered out so much food. But more recently, like the other day, I cooked pasta and then I cooked Indian curry. Like I'm trying to get us to cook more to save money because it is ridiculous how expensive it is to eat out. Even if you don't use DoorDash and you call the order in and you go pick it up yourself, like for 2 people, the average meal around us is like 20 to 25 bucks per like entree or plate. That's $50 for one meal for 2 people. Maybe 4 meals if you have leftovers. But like in terms of groceries, you can get so much more. So yeah, we've been trying to cook more, but it is difficult having newborns. You tell someone to cook and they show up with a bucket of KFC, which isn't the end of the world. I like me some KFC. I love fried chicken. And it's way, like, to me, going through the trouble of making fried chicken is not worth it. All that oil, all that splatter, like sitting there, deep frying it in batches. Sometimes it's just worth it to just get it already made. Been enjoyable and fun, guys. Great combo. It's 3:30 a.m. Ryzen Dave. Good combos. Have a good night. Hope to see you in future streams. Thanks for sticking around and hanging out and talking and stuff like that. Hope you have a good one. Techman TY. Techman Ty. Why do I always read your name as Techman TY for some reason? I kind of read it as like YT, like YouTube, but it's Techman Ty. Did you have a different channel for this one? I thought I was watching your channel before 2013. I did have content before 2016 when this channel officially started, but I didn't have like an official one. It was just like, you know, I posted videos to YouTube, not meaning to have an official channel. But no, you might be confusing me for a different Asian person that looks and sounds the same. They have giant dino nuggies? No way. I need to see these. Mega dino nuggies. Oh my. What is this? So this is Yummy Dino Buddies, which we buy. Mega ones. But this isn't the right brand. This is the right brand right here. The Dino Buddies. The Tyson ones, they're shaped similarly. But we don't ever do the Tyson ones. We always do the Costco Dino Buddies. Huh. Interesting. But they have big ones now, huh? Hey Danny, what would you prefer? 9070 XT or 7900 XTX? Honestly, I would probably grab the 9070 XT. I know raster wise it's a little bit weaker. I would just rather get the newer, more power efficient card. Obviously, pricing, even if they were the same price, I would grab 9070 XT. Pre-pandemic, I remember most fast food was less than $9 or less dollars per person. Now, almost $20 a person. I mean, living near Seattle, it's always been pretty expensive, but it definitely seemed more expensive post-pandemic. Like, it is ridiculous how much it is to eat out. Like, even when you try to order through their app, like the prices on their app and ordering online, even if it's not through DoorDash or, you know, Grubhub or whatever, it's more expensive than the actual price eating in. But when you eat in, you're expected to tip and all that stuff. And it's just like, bro, and you guys know how I feel about tipping culture. It's not that I don't want the workers to get paid. I want them to just be paid an even playing field and not rely on whether or not one customer decides to tip or not versus another. Just pay them more of a base salary. Wait, I missed it. What did HD7 say? Yummy fried chicken, HD77. Moniker, yes, because AI dummy, not gamers. The stats are out there for anyone to see. Clearly, you don't know what you're talking about. Stick to house cleaning. HDZ, come on now. Don't be making comments like this. If you can't play nice, you're going to have to go in timeout or get banned. Don't be a dick. It's pretty simple. Where is the bot that reminds people of that, by the way? Bro, chill. HDZ, behave yourself. Don't be like that. Yeah, HDZ, come on now. No need to be aggressive and super what's it called? Like no need for name calling or being offensive to other people. This is supposed to be a chill stream where people, like-minded people, come together and talk about things we enjoy. No need to bash or put other people down. Where's the baby? Finally getting a break? Yes, we do have a slight break right now, though we are at the end of stream, so I might be able to grab her for a second. Let me see. Let me see if I can grab her in the last 5 to 10 minutes of stream. I'll be right back. But yes, HDZ. Chill. All right, we've got the other twin now. No more fighting. There's a baby in the room, okay? Everyone chill. Let's all get along and play nice in front of the baby. Lexi is up now. She might be a bit fussy. She's going to determine when stream ends. You guys notice how much chubbier cheek she is than Mia? My goodness. She is the smaller twin. She's the older twin because she came out first by 3 minutes. But she was also the smaller one. She weighs less. She's shorter, I guess, not as long. They go by length. But she has chubbier cheeks. Hi. You chill now? When I grabbed her from her auntie. So now we have a full house. We got my 2 sister-in-laws and mother-in-law upstairs and Melissa. So we started the stream struggling with not enough hands on deck. And now we have so much extra help. But she was fussing, but now she's cool. She's chill. How you doing, love? You're so quiet. You hungry? Oh my goodness, I love these girls to death. They also drive me crazy. Look, I'm gonna be honest. Having kids is so difficult. I've had my fair shares of questioning, like, was I really meant to be a parent over these last 2.5 months? When these two are crying like crazy in the middle of the night, and feeding them and holding them doesn't solve the problem, and they have poop explosions and blowouts where the crap is coming out of their diaper onto their clothes, onto them, onto me. I've lost my temper so many times. But I think that's just kind of like growing and learning how to be a parent and, evolving as a human for, the next aspect of my life. This is the next arc, the parental arc. I'm very new to this. I'm a beginner, so I'm just trying my best. But as these girls grow, they have, shown more personality. Hi, love. Can you follow my finger? Show the stream. Can you follow the finger? Okay, no, you're just looking at... Oh, no. I'm sorry. Here. But the fact that they're now kind of recognizing us and being able to track us, and they're laughing and smiling, it's pretty amazing. Pro tip, get sleep whenever you can. It is difficult. They still need to be fed like every 2-ish hours. So it is very hard to get sleep when you're constantly having to wake up every couple hours for 2 different babies. So yeah, we're still struggling to get, a decent amount of sleep every night, but we're just hoping that that switch just flips in them and they just eventually sleep for like 4 or 5 hours at a time. That would be amazing. Do you not like the... Yeah, the key light is a little bright. Good point. Let me turn it down a bit. Here we go. Oh, you smiling? Oh my god. That's where it's all worth it. When they do that. Hi. Want to say hi to the stream? ADLSN335. What you just described is, as you know, only for a relative short period until they get to about 2 years or a bit older. One day very soon you'll remember and laugh. Exactly. That's what I always hear. Like, you always look back and say, man, as much as it has been difficult, you know, like, you miss when they were this tiny. So I'm trying my best to keep my head above the water and take care of them and do right by them. Oh. How you doing? What was that? What was that? Oh my goodness. Please tell me you didn't have a blowout. Okay. Okay, you're good. You're good. You're good. Ha ha ha. Let's see. You've created a legacy, Danny. Keep grinding. Thanks, Bertha Mac. I appreciate it. I started off with twins too. I know the struggle, says Tech Blacksmith. I appreciate the people who can relate. Even people with singletons, like just single children, and not twins. Like, I think all parents can relate to the struggle of the first few months. So I'm glad you guys are chiming in and having words of encouragement. It is much appreciated. And yeah. They are identical twins, transpired. They're going to be a handful. My cousin has twins, 3-year-olds now. Yeah. The issue is, once even though they'll eventually sleep more through the night and will get more sleep, during the daytime, as they are more capable, like when they start crawling, when they start walking, they're going to be a handful. Just forever until they're 18, even beyond 18. I don't know when they're going to move out of the house and be on their own. But with housing prices these days, they might live with us forever. So they might be a handful forever. I love you. How you doing? You hungry? You got a poopy-ish diaper? I don't smell anything. It might just be pee-pee. And I'll change you in a second here. Are you giving them formula? The pediatrician may be able to give guidelines how to reduce blowouts if they're happening all the time. We're doing both. It's just hard for, for twins, to make that much breast milk. So we do about 50-50. We try to do breast milk, and then whenever not enough is pumped, we do mixed formula. But I've been looking up ways to do the diaper. Oh, girl, you just farted. Oh gosh, you're still good, but I can feel your diaper getting heavier. We're gonna have to end the stream soon. Hey, when they get old, they'll take care of you, hopefully. If we have a good relationship. Some kids disown their parents because their parents are dicks, or didn't take care of them, or whatever reason. Oh my god, you're so chill. Why did your aunties say that you were fussing? You're fine. It's because you love me, right? What model OnePlus are you currently rocking? I know you said you have some deals on used ones. What's the nope tip for phones? I always buy used, but I'm rocking the OnePlus 12. I've bought so the phones I've owned in order for the last 10 plus years is, I bought the OnePlus 1 new. I bought the OnePlus 2 new. Then after that, I bought the OnePlus 6 used. Then the OnePlus 8 Pro used. And then I bought this OnePlus 12 used. So I've been using OnePlus for a long time. Okay. You've had enough? You've had enough? I keep checking for the blowout. The OnePlus 6 I bought on Reddit. So the OnePlus 6 and 8 Pro I bought damaged. OnePlus 6, by the volume rocker, there was a known issue where it would the glass on the back would crack. So I got a good discount on that, and I just put a skin wrap over it. I forgot how much I bought it for, but it was like way cheaper than what they were normally going for, like probably $200 to $300 less. So I bought that one on Reddit, and then the OnePlus 8 Pro I bought on OfferUp in my local area. It had a crack on the bottom of the screen, which was like I didn't care about because the person was selling it for so cheap, and I just put a tempered glass screen protector over it, so I didn't feel the crack at all, and it didn't affect the use of it. And then for the OnePlus 12 Pro, I got really lucky, and I bought it from someone who was just like a person who first was probably well off, but they were the type of person to switch phones all the time. So they bought the 12 Pro, used it for a while, and then they wanted to switch to iPhone. So they listed it for like $500, and compared to I think normally 800 plus tax. So that was like I got probably close to a $380 discount on it, and I bought that like last summer, so it was less than a year old. So yeah, I kind of just try to buy used phones now because, just like PC parts, you can save a lot buying used versus new. What about OnePlus One U over to stick with this long? I like the clean UI and OS. It's Android based, but it's like their own version. And I've been able to find them for cheap enough. The day I can't find a cheap enough OnePlus phone, I'll probably jump over to like a nothing phone or whatever I can find cheap. I wouldn't be opposed to using a Pixel, but those kind of hold their value for a while, so yeah. Do they have different personalities? The twins do have different personalities. Alexi is usually more chill, and she can hang out by herself without being held. Mia is what we call a Velcro baby. She always wants to be held and attached to you. Oh, you sucking on your hand. You hungry. All right, she's starting to suck on her hand, which we're trying to not let her do. We don't want thumb sucking to be a thing. So I got to head out now. We've been... Oh, yep. I know. You want to suck on your hand. Let's get you fed. So I'm going to head out. You guys, thanks for being here on the stream. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you all. I should see you all same time next week. I don't really have a video plan for this weekend. I'm actually going to be doing something pretty cool that you'll be seeing in the future in terms of a collab video. But I can't talk about it much now. But yeah. I will see you guys in next week's stream. So take care. Take some time to blow off some steam so that when you guys get to the stream, you don't argue amongst each other. HDZ77. Yeah, she is hungry. I'm going to go feed her now. Chill out, and we'll all reconvene next week, same time as always. So y'all have a good one. Bye-bye. Say bye-bye, Lexi. Bye-bye. Okay.